So there are tons of gurus out there pushing the idea that you should use ChatGPT for SEO keyword research. This is kind of true, but one of their recommendations is completely wrong. I'm Nathan from Gotcha SEO, and in this video, I'll show you 3 SEO keyword research mistakes to avoid with ChatGPT. And then I'll show you how to use it the right way. Let's dive right in. So the first mistake people are making is thinking that ChatGPT is a replacement for traditional keyword research tools like SEMrush or Ahrefs. So here's an example of how you should not use ChatGPT. So you can use ChatGPT to come up with broad topics, which then you can take those topics and find more granular ideas. But one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to use ChatGPT to tell you the popularity of any given keyword, because it doesn't even have that capability to tell you that. It is simply a language model. It is basically predicting what the next words are going to be. It has no idea what is popular right now. Plus, it's using data from 2021. And maybe by the time you watch this, it may be more up to date than that. Maybe it'll be real time. But the point is that it's not capable of giving us real time data about these keywords. So if you're making decisions based on what ChatGPT is telling you as far as popularity, you're going to be making a huge mistake and you're not going to get the SEO results that you're looking for. So don't use it this way. I'll show you how to use it the right way in a second. Mistake number 2 is that simply generating keyword ideas is only a fraction of the keyword research process. The truth is, anyone can generate ideas, but the real magic happens when you understand the other 2 parts of SEO keyword research. Okay, so now let's talk about why you can't just use ChatGPT to do all of your keyword research. So there's no doubt that ChatGPT is a great tool for just getting you familiar with a particular vertical, but the truth is you cannot just rely on this. This is not going to work because there's no rhyme or reason why ChatGPT picked these keywords. It's not in any particular order, and it has no capability of telling you what's actually popular based on any data. Okay, it's just literally guessing. So what we do is we want to take all these keywords and we want to run them through Ahrefs. All right, and what we're going to find is that a lot of these keywords, they don't have any volume at all. No quantifiable reason to actually go after them at this point. Okay, and there's something to be said for keywords that don't have volume. That's a different discussion altogether. But for the most part, when we're building a new site, we do want to go after keywords that do have a little bit of quantifiable data. Okay, so first thing we want to look at, obviously KD. We want to go after keywords that have a lower KD if you have a new website or if you have a website that isn't very authoritative. We're going to want to try to go after those. But we can go even further with this. We can go to lowest DR and we'll hit this to 30. Okay, and this would mean that we're only looking at keywords where there's a competitor domain that is less than a DR of 30. Okay, so if we look at the SERPs here for EdgeGuard, which I don't even know what that means, okay? But bear with me for a second. But if we look at these results, you'll see that there is, in the number 2 spot right here, we have a DR10. Now, they do have an exact match domain, so you're probably not gonna beat them. But if we look at some of the other ones here, we have trimlock.com, they're a DR of 39. We have a DR 53, DR 38, DR 48. So there's some weaknesses in this SERP. Okay, that means there's an opportunity to actually rank here because we have domains that are not super strong that are ranking, and the overall KD is not very high either. So that means we're not going to need a ton of backlinks to be able to rank here. Now, I don't even know if this is relevant to pickleball. The other issue with using ChatGPT just on its own is we don't even know if these are relevant. So you have to dig a little bit deeper, and we start to look at vibration dampening. Okay, and we look at the search results on this one, and you're going to see that it's kind of all over the place, right? It's not even really that specific to pickleball. All right, and I know nothing about pickleball, by the way, but I'm just telling you based on what I'm seeing here, this would not be a wise decision because we're looking at all kinds of different intents here. It seems like Google's having a hard time even delivering up relevant results for this keyword. So this is just another reason why you have to be really, really careful, because if you just purely relied on this and you just started creating content, I mean, you might be okay. You might be able to get some traffic, but if you're trying to be the most effective that you can be, you're trying to use your resources to the best of your ability, and you're ultimately trying to get rankings with the least amount of effort and the least amount of investment, this is not the right idea, okay? Use these concepts as seeds to go deeper into the keyword research, but this alone should tell you that this is just not a replacement for any of these tools like Ahrefs or SEMrush. And I didn't even get into the fact that we could talk about cost per click, we could talk about overall volume and trends. Like, we need to use data to our advantage to really make educated decisions when it comes to selecting our keywords. And mistake number 3 is using ChatGPT to generate frequently asked questions for your SEO content. Okay, so what you're looking at here on the left-hand side are frequently asked questions about pickleball paddles that ChatGPT has given me. And on the right-hand side, we're looking at the people also asked section from Google. And so there's a lot of important points here that you got to be really careful of. Number one, Remember, we just have to remember this most important point that ChatGPT is guessing. It is just trying to guess what people might be interested in. It's just a language model. It's not giving you these based on any quantifiable data. It's just giving you these ideas based on its database, based on the inputs that it's been given. All right. This is not to discredit these ideas, by the way. These might be totally legitimate ideas, and you probably could see a good amount of success just going after these without even doing any additional keyword research. You might be fine. But once again, this is a matter of being effective. And if you're working with clients, you can't just guess. Right? You can't just guess on what's going to work or not. So for me, it's really important that whenever I target people also ask or any type of frequently asked questions, I want to see that it's actually in Google, okay? Because if it's here in Google, I know that people are searching it. Google is using data to serve up these people also ask because it's in Google's best interest that this is relevant to the searcher, okay? So they're using all the data at their disposal to come up with these unique ideas, okay? So you can use a tool like SEO Minion to crawl and scrape these ideas, and then you go out there and you can start creating content on these really long tail concepts. And it's very, very effective for building topic authority and also ranking for keywords that are extremely long tail and easy to rank for on top of it. So I would recommend sticking to Google for this. You know, of course, if you're trying to not invest in a lot of these tools, I mean, it doesn't cost you anything to use Google, but regardless, just remember, this is not going to be 100% accurate. It is guessing. This is actually based on data. But the main point here is that this is not based on any quantifiable data, and this is actually based on real users actually typing in these concepts. You know, if we're trying to be most effective, lean on this, not so much on this. But as I mentioned before, you can use these as your seeds to actually go out and find some quantifiable data to support the reason to go after these. So now let me show you how to use ChatGPT to do SEO keyword research the right way. Number one, use ChatGPT as a starting point. Okay, so I already showed you a few times that you can use ChatGPT to give you seeds for your keyword research. And this is really, really effective when you're in an industry where you just have no idea what it's about. So in the case of pickleball, this is a perfect example because I have no clue about anything regarding pickleball. What I did is I actually went here and I used ChatGPT to give me 50 semantically related keywords, okay? And I took these keywords and I put them through Ahrefs Keyword Explorer. And what you're gonna find, it's actually pretty fascinating because it really did give us quantifiable data for almost all of them, with the exception of one. But this is only the starting point, okay? Because these are all really still broad ideas. But what you can do is you can actually go to matching terms. This is usually where I like to start my keyword research. And what I want to see is like how much opportunity is there just broadly. I'm not even going to add any filters. I just want to see broadly how much opportunity is there. If we look, 546,000 searches a month. That is a ton. That is a huge amount. So what we can do is we can start to filter through these keywords very quickly. So we'll do lowest DR and we're just going to start at 30. Okay. It's a good place to start. You can go lower, of course, but this is going to give us a really good idea to see, are there weaknesses in this SERP? And so when we look at this, we'll take a look at one that looks a little more informational in nature. Can you play pickleball on a tennis court? Okay, let's look and see who's ranking here. And it must have some weak competitors. And so we see right away is we have the number one result is a DR 52. We have a DR 34, a 20, 51, 27, and a 14 ranking. Okay, that's very, very exciting. So if I wanted to enter this industry and I saw this, I would be very excited because I know I would not need an insanely strong website to be able to compete here. So I always start with DR first, okay? Because at the end of the day, if you're up against Amazon or Target.com or Nordstrom or any just of these super authoritative sites and like the whole first page is littered with them, it's just going to be an uphill battle. If you can see that right away, then this is a very good sign. Then you can start to filter by KD. Okay, so you could do a max of, let's say 10, and we'll start to see like the really low competition keywords. And now we're starting to look at some stuff that we could easily create content on that would likely be not super hard to rank. Okay, so like this one here, we can see this is a very good example because it's got a weird kind of name to it. So this is actually the name of a brand. And so that's exciting because I could probably do a review on this particular type of product, okay? And if we look at who's ranking, there's actually a DR0 ranking, okay, for this. Very, very easy to rank for this. Like, I can tell you that right now. The fact that they're ranking with a DR0, that's a very good sign. This is the way that I start to work through this, is I start with the overall domain strength. Then I start to look at how many links am I gonna need on the page level to go after these, okay? And this is assuming this is a brand new website with no authority, or it could be an old website with no authority. It doesn't make a difference. Doesn't doesn't matter how old your website is. All that matters is how many links your site has. If you have no links, it doesn't matter if your site's 10 years old. If it has no links, it might as well be new. So we need to really be making decisions based on how much is that link investment going to be as far as the keywords. So start there, and then you can start to go a little bit deeper. Sometimes I'll add cost per click in here too, just to start to see what are the most valuable keywords in this particular vertical. Okay, so you can filter through like this, and we can start to look at, okay, what are the most valuable ones that we can go after? Start to use these different variables to filter through your keywords and ultimately come up with the best keywords in your specific industry. You can use ChatGPT though to give you this baseline to start with. We're not using for the full process, we're just using it for this beginner part. And I'm gonna show you 2 more ways that you can use it here in a second. Number 2, use ChatGPT to classify search intent. Okay, now another cool thing that you can use with ChatGPT is you can actually have it classify your keywords based on search intent. And so just for the sake of doing this, I used a very simple prompt, but we use a much more complex prompt in my actual business. But just for the sake of this, we're just gonna do informational and commercial intent. There are many different types of search intent, but for the most part, we can pretty much clump most keywords into these 2 categories. So you can use a very simple prompt like this. Like I mentioned, you can obviously increase the level of complexity for this prompt, but something simple like this works really well. And then we'll go in here and you'll see very quickly, it can start to classify the intent very well. It's not going to be 100% accurate. Nothing is more accurate than just going into Google and looking at the search results and coming up with ideas. But if you're trying to scale this out and you're trying to do this in a very efficient way, it's pretty good. So if we look at pickleball rules, that's informational. We look at pickleball net height, once again, informational. So we start to go through these, and these are all very informational based keywords. I would have classified these as informational. There's a couple where I wouldn't. So like this one here, best pickleball paddles 2022. This is outdated, but best pickleball paddles on its own is more of an investigative query. So it would definitely fall under commercial. So it got this one definitely wrong, but for the most part, we're looking at like 90% accuracy as far as identifying informational content or informational intent. Now, as far as commercial, it did very well. Very, very well if you look at these. These are all really commercial or kind of middle to bottom of the funnel keywords as far as intent. So we're talking just like a second of work here, and you immediately know the intent of these keywords, which then allows you to structure your pages appropriately based on the intent. So definitely take advantage of this. Number 3, use ChatGPT to brainstorm link bait ideas. So the other way I like to use ChatGPT is to come up with link bait ideas. And so just give it a very simple prompt. You can say, just give me 20 link bait ideas, and then make sure you say tools and data-driven ideas, and then put your primary keyword in here, your primary topic. And then it's gonna come up with a bunch of ideas. Some are gonna be good, some are gonna be terrible, some will be in between. But the good news is we're actually gonna use a second step to classify these even further. Now, of course, you can use your best judgment here. You can look at these ideas and say, are these actually good? Can we actually execute these? Would these, based on my experience, actually attract links and interest people? And the answer is yes for a lot of these, just doing a manual analysis. But what I like to do is I like to use this prompt here, which is gonna force ChatGPT to give us scores based on relevance and, most importantly, based on linkability. So when it does this, it's gonna put it in a nice little table, and then it's gonna go ahead and score these. Now, this is not 100% accurate. This is not 100% accurate. It's just guessing based on the data that it has. But what I found is that I tend to agree with a lot of the scoring that it gives, just from a manual analysis. So when we look at this, at the end, it will tell you that based on this data, these 3 are the best that it would recommend. And now all you would have to do is you just go out and create these particular assets. And the cool part is you can use ChatGPT to create these assets for you. So you could actually have it create the HTML, the CSS, and the JavaScript, or even Python if you need it to actually create these assets if that's necessary. Once again, a very powerful way to use this tool for keyword research or for finding link bait, which is just a subset of keyword research. Now, although ChatGPT shouldn't be your preferred SEO keyword research tool, it does have some other capabilities that are pretty insane. I'm going to publish some more videos about using ChatGPT for SEO, so make sure you subscribe, hit the bell button, and like this video. Thank you so much for watching.